Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Four Lads Rangers Midweek Live. It's never really quiet in Rangers land, is it? And today, Kenny and I were wondering what would we discuss on tonight's show, and I said it's still early afternoon, give it time. Rangers will fuck something up somehow, and sure enough, out it came in timely fashion as they always do, and we'll be discussing it all tonight. All the news from today's breaking news, so to speak. We'll cover Gratz tomorrow night and listen to what the manager said in the press conference also. I'm sure it'll be a passionate podcast. Two of our very well-spoken gentlemen joining me. Chris, good evening. How are you? You well? Are you happy?
No, never happy. Never happy. Aye. Listen, Stevie, we need to give Rangers some credit. They almost went a full day without any nonsense because this was quite a late development. I was actually in the car driving and I missed it all happening, and I didn't actually see it until I got in. And then when I seen it, I was just like, here we go. It's yeah, I'm sure we'll discuss it rather than talking about the massive win at the weekend.
I was so excited. I driving home, I was like, I can't wait to see how Chris is going to react to this tonight on the pod. So it was good because you mellowed a wee bit the first week, and then second week Chris came out a wee bit more, and then tonight I'm like, great, this is going to be it.
Last week was far too positive for me, especially in the predicament we were in, Stevie. So I think you said to me after it you're going to get accused of being a happy clapper, and I was so ashamed of you last week. But I just didn't know what to say. But none of that nonsense this week, Stevie, please.
Kenny, an eventful day in Rangers land as per.
Chris stole my line. I was going to say 0 days since her last nonsense. It begs belief, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know what we're going to say about this. It will be an interesting one because I didn't see that coming. Had a great wee day off though until that happened. So there we go.
Well, let's get right into it. Rangers View broke news this afternoon that Kevin Thelwells has made some changes. Rangers set to appoint Nathan Fisher, currently head of emerging talent at Everton, as their new head scout. Davy McGregor, who's been promoted to the role of men's head kit manager, he was the assistant. Davy's actually a really, really nice guy, really great guy, so I'm pleased for Davy. It does end the possibility of anybody else coming in as the kit man. James Monty will also join as data insights lead this month also. But the biggest news is Kevin Thelwells' son is set to join Rangers as part of significant backroom shakeup. Robbie Thelwell will be appointed as the club's new head of recruitment, with a new head scout also joining, that head scout being Nathan Fisher. What do we know about Robbie Thelwell? Apart from the obvious being Kevin Thelwell's son, he was with his dad at Wolves between 2016 and 2020 while he studied for a degree in sports coaching practice. That was coinciding his dad's time at Molineux Club as sporting director. He then was recruited by Aston Villa, where he operated as first team scout, and then he moved to be head of technical scouting and loan management at English champion side Norwich, where he was only there for a little more than over a year. He is only 26. I don't really know what else to say. The optics of this don't look great. Kevin Thelwells, Ex Everton. Dan Purdy, Ex Everton. Nathan Fisher, Ex Everton. Robbie Thelwell, his son. Chris, listen, Robbie Thelwell may very well be a very capable young lad. At 26, with limited experience, head of recruitment from Rangers, the optics of it looks absolutely atrocious. That's even before we get to the fact that he's Kevin Thelwell's son. Rangers done a massive internal review, and we've tried to tell me that the answer to all that, which we've never found out what that review found. The answers to that is, we'll just nip down to Everton, take their staff because I know them well, and appoint my son. There's a reason why the fans are so pissed off, surely, and asking questions.
Yeah, and they're quite right to be asking questions. It is. I don't want to say it's a disaster because, as you say, you have to be quite fair on the boy and you have to give him a chance. He might turn out to be good, but it's a shambles, really, in the sense that did Robbie Thelwell get several interviews, as you would probably expect for a job like this. It would go through stage after stage. Does he have a body of work, and is he the best man for the job up against other applicants? The answer to all of those questions is no. Simply, and I don't care what anyone has to say about this in terms of playing devil's advocate. The answer is he got the job because his dad is here, and it's an absolute disgrace, to be honest with you. Again, I don't want to make this personal with Robbie Thelwell because it quite clearly isn't personal. I don't know the boy, and he is a boy. I just think that Rangers nepotism here is off the scale. But this is what Rangers have done the last 3-4 years, and people will come out with the argument. You have to give the new owners a chance. You have to give the new board a chance. No, I'm sorry, because at the end of the day, you look at Rangers' track record over the last 4 or 5 years where it's been run as a failed business. Michael Beale was our coach. You get promoted to manager, disaster. James Bisgrove was our commercial director, get promoted to CEO, disaster. Niels Coppins, our technical scout, get promoted to sporting director, disaster. David McCallum, he's still floating about doing, don't know what he's doing, but he gets promotion after promotion. Jobs for the boys, and it very much is jobs for the boys in the sense of what Thelwell's done. Everton, nomads, really. And I'll tell you this, that my biggest concern now is I still want Russell Martin to leave, but if Russell Martin leaves, we all know who the next manager's going to be. Sean Dyche, Kevin Thelwell. We are not Everton, right? And Everton's a massive, massive football club there. But they've been a... You know, we've talked about the two biggest basket cases in British football. Rangers and Man U are right up there. Everton are in the top 5 as well. They're starting to get it together now, but they have been an atrociously run football club, and we're just picking off all these guys that have just never... They added no value to Everton, which is why they're here. We've not headhunted these guys. You know what I mean? If Everton wanted to keep these guys, they would have kept them. Same goes for, and again, I don't want to make this personal between a player, but the same goes for Chinmity. You know what I mean? We've got him, and it all absolutely stinks. It absolutely stinks, and the fact that this has been allowed to happen on the Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marathi's watch, I'm officially now worried about the new ownership, because they've allowed Stewart and Thelwell to run this club any way they see fit. And I said it the first 2 pods I was on, and I'll say it again: we are not a stupid fan base. We are not. The much maligned previous chairman, John Bennett, who I was no fan of, but one thing he did say was Rangers Football Club should always have best in class, regardless of what it is: player, manager, coach, director, whatever, should always be best in class. It shouldn't be some 26-year-old boy because his dad has got a senior position with Rangers. And ironically as well, Stevie, I'll not disclose too much information about my own kind of career, but I do have personal experience for this with Rangers. I applied for quite a high-level job at Rangers, and do you know what they said to me? Do you know what they said to me? And bearing in mind, I've got a degree in a professional service, and I've got about 3-4 years experience at high level. They turned around and said to me, I don't have enough experience. Didn't even get an interview. No, I didn't expect to get an interview, but this is the inconsistency. This is the nonsense that you're getting for Rangers. But if my dad, I'm telling you right now, see if my dad worked at Rangers in a decent level, I would have been in there. And that's wrong, by the way. That's wrong. So it's... we're in a bad way, man. We're in a bad way. Sorry for ranting.
Kenny, your thoughts on today's news?
Well, very quickly, Chris, on your personal situation, I also happen to know another chap that was in for that job, and he was told that he got an interview, right? But the final interview for that particular job was going to be given by Andrew Kavanagh. So this is where my kind of problems lie here. is Andrew Kavanagh actually overseeing this? And if he is, God help us, because what are you meant to say to that? If he said, okay, bring your family with you, bring your mates with you, and we're all good, and everything will be rosy in this garden, because this terrifies me. I've got to be honest. I can't say it in any other way. This absolutely petrifies me, because the situation is that Kevin Thelwells brought Russell Martin to this job. He's brought him to this football club. We can see how that's turning out at this minute in time. And this is not personal on anybody that's coming here, by the way. Fair play to them for failing upwards yet again. It's just kind of what everybody seems to be doing. But what concerns me, as I say, is the fact that if this all goes tits up, the compensation packages are going to be ridiculous. I mean, what are we meant to do here? And now some of these guys might be good at their job. Nobody's questioning that. It's the fact that you look at this and you go, as you said, Everton, son. Really? This is Rangers, and you've actually scoured the country, scoured the continent, scoured the planet for the best people in this job, or have you just picked up your phone and said, who do I know that can do this particular job? Because that's exactly what it looks like. And I find that bordering on, and I don't say this word in a quite literal sense, but it's coming across as amateurish as hell. I mean, it is. Is this the best that we can do? Is quite genuinely, use this guy's mobile phone to see who he's got. Is that it? Is that the summer Rangers at this minute in time? Are you joking me? I find this disgraceful, actually. And I genuinely have no other kind of way of putting it. I just find it an abomination. And for new owners, mind that time we were going, we've got new owners, it's going to be a belter. Look at the nick of this. Look at the state of our support yet again tonight before a big European tie, and it is every other day this nonsense is going on. And I don't know what else to say, mate, because I'll do what Chris just done and went in a wee rant if I don't stop, because this is a farce, actually, and I genuinely mean it. And I don't care how good these guys are at the jobs that they're about to take on. The simple fact is nobody's ever going to be able to tell me they are the best available for this job, and there's been a thorough process, to get them to where they are. I don't believe it.
I'll just go back to, after listening to you boys, I think the biggest thing for me is this internal football review. And from that, we've genuinely come up with the idea that we should just nip down to Everton and take the best from them in the eyes of Kevin Thelwells. So where's the extensive recruitment? Where's the looking? Where's the searching for the best candidate? And all these months of searching for the best candidates, he's went with people that he knew and nipped down the road to get his son, with the famous line from Rangers being there was Premier teams interested in them. We are so fanny-dazzled by average English nonsense. And I don't say that ahead of or anything against English leagues or anything. It's just they're treating us like a jobber English Championship side, filling it with recruitment that is questionable at this moment in time, and appointments that every single supporter out there is wondering what in the hell is going on. I can't support this without questioning it, Chris, and it's madness. There's been so much outrage, quite rightly, about this, because it's absolutely fucking laughable from top to bottom that anyone would think this is a good idea. Obviously Russell Martin's going to say in a press conference and back Kevin Thelwells about if he's the stature of his dad and all this. This is an absolute nonsense. And listen, this young lad, they put him in a terrible position already, because he will never last here in the eyes of the fans, because they already want him out and he's not even fucking started in the door yet. So to put another person in this position, to me is quite frankly ridiculous. And It's just like they have decided that to ignore the optics of this and the mood music of the support, because they simply don't care what we think. They don't care how it looks, which is even worse. And they're treating us like a jobber club where these appointments. I remember Rangers used to go and get the best of the best. Now we're shopping in the Championship for everything. And I can't sit here and say to everybody, look, it's okay, you know, this guy might be all right and he's got a decent record and stuff like that. He's not. And he's a 26-year-old young lad with zero experience and is the dad of the sporting director. It looks awful. It really does. And that's before we even go to the fact that he's just pilfered Everton for a load of his mates. And that's cynical, but it's how it looks.
What Rangers are doing now, and maybe doing is the wrong word. The road that we're going down is, well, like any other run of the mill team in England. They're trying to play the odds. They're trying to play Moneyball, if you will. So what I mean by that is there's no any senior level executive at any department in Rangers, maybe in the youth teams, but I'm talking about senior men's team, that has any knowledge of what it takes to succeed at Rangers. So they're flinging a lot of money at this, and it is a lot of money. Spent a lot of money in the window just there on players because their stats maybe look good, their running stats look good, their pre-assists look good, their XG might look good, and hopefully you land on one or two big sales, and then further to that, hopefully you land on a successful team that might challenge Celtic. No, Rangers need players that are oven ready, that can go straight into the heat. Rangers need players that are going to take us up to the level of winning trophies. And in order to get those players on the park, there needs to be an infrastructure off the park that requires knowledge and understanding of how to win. What does Kevin, and this is all due respect, what does Kevin Thelwells know about winning at football clubs? He's been in relegation battle after relegation battle in England. Youth management in England as well. Had a wee spell over in America, which I'll be honest, I don't know if that was any level of success there. But my point here is he is behaving like a Wolves and Everton senior figure. He's not behaving like a Rangers Football Club senior figure. And that is evident in his recruitment on and off the field. There is no best in class here. It's obviously he's opened up his contact book for some of the signings, and then other signings. You look at the players. I made this point last week. They might be decent players, and we might still see them turn into decent players, but they are mentally way off it when it comes to playing for Rangers. They have not got that in them yet, and they might develop into that, but we need them right now. And this is what concerns me on the whole here, Stevie. We have given free rein to Thelwell and Stewart to build this infrastructure that should ultimately bear fruit on the park, and ultimately should have us lifting trophies and winning leagues. Miles away from it. And the more decisions that are getting made like today, because let's be honest, it's not really that significant today having these guys come in the door. You're not going to see a change in the next 2-3 months. The real changes, you're going to see them in January, obviously with the transfer window. But with each passing decision that gets made, that gets questioned by the fans, and actually the fans can see right through it. It's not even being questioned by the fans. We can see right through what's happening here. The further away we are from winning honours, because we are slowly turning into a middle of the road English Championship team, or at best a bottom 5 English Premier League team, and that shouldn't be Rangers, and that's what our identity is becoming, and that needs to be sorted now. the 49ers and Andrew Kavanagh. I had this conversation with you privately, Stevie. I do not know who is advising these guys with the local knowledge. Whoever it is not doing it properly, or secondly, there isn't enough of them, or thirdly, which is even worse for me, maybe it's just not happening at all. Maybe they see us as just a sporting institution that they're going to use a sporting blueprint for and try and make us successful. It doesn't work with Rangers. You need guys that understand us, and more are more guys are coming in that don't understand us, and more guys that did understand us are leaving, and that is a very, very bad thing for us.
Kenny, people are rightly now starting to ask what exactly is Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marathi doing here, because it looks more and more like Kevin Thelwells and Patrick Stewart are being free-reined to run this football club. And regardless of what they might think, I will go back and say this does not look good. It doesn't look good at all that we could do such an extensive recruitment and come up with what we've come up with today. I will say, I don't want to get this confused with regards to today's news. Jamie Ramsden becoming new head of performance and Davy McGregor being promoted to head kitman. They're two really good men, two Rangers men appointed from within. So I would say congratulations to both of them. This isn't about them. This is about what we brought in from Everton and from Norwich City. Now, take away the fact that it's Kevin Thelwell's son. I don't see at 26-year-old him having the extensive knowledge and experience that's required to come up to Rangers, and he's not demonstrated it either. So that's the side of the side. But going back to what I was saying at the start, when do we start questioning Andrew Kavanagh, Parag Marathi, and what they're doing and how much influence they're actually having in the football club? Because at the moment, and this was my biggest fear, and I spoke about it weeks ago, and people said, no, that's not right. They've got access to internet. They'll know the mood music. They'll know what's happening. It's almost like they are completely ignoring everything and allowing this free reign to continue, and even worse, signing off on it. And I don't understand. I don't understand it at all from that point of view.
Well, you started the show saying that we did this football department review last year, and that's correct. And they said they were going to change the culture, and they were going to find a particular brand of football that they were going to play. This isn't about the people that are about to be employed by Rangers. This is about the people that are employing them. For me, more than anything else, this is about Kevin Thelwell and his judgment, because I'm now at that stage where I'm looking at all of this and saying, well, what is actually going on? What are the owners prepared to write off a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? What is it they're prepared to write off? Because going by the performances and the results that the head coach is getting, and by some of these appointments, it looks to me as if they're going to allow all of these guys to learn on the job. So up you come to Scotland, go and learn about Scottish football, go and learn about Rangers, go and learn about trying to find results in the Scottish Premier League, go and find out about trying to scout players that are going to work in the Scottish Premier League when you're 26. This is bizarre. So your question, when do you start questioning the owners? Now, actually, right now, we have to, because this is a mantra that's been going on with us for the last few weeks on this podcast. They might know business better than us. They might know the inner workings of certain football clubs better than us. They don't know Rangers better than any of our supporters, and they need to get this. They are playing with fire here. That's all I can say about this, mate. I'm actually, you can probably tell. I think Chris is the same. I know you're flabbergasted, but Chris is coming across as quite angry about it. I'm angry about it. This is unacceptable to me. from the owners, from the sporting director, the head coach. Everybody's failing at this particular moment in time. Now, people might turn and look at that and say, that's too early to say. It's only just October the 1st. Yeah, but look at us. We're sitting 8th. We've just received the biggest hosing in Europe in our history. And this guy's bringing a 26-year-old head scout to Scotland. It's probably set foot in Scotland once or twice to come and visit his dad. He will know nothing about Scottish football, and that's no disrespect to the kid. He will know nothing about Scottish football. English kids do not care about Scottish football. They're only interested in the Premier League. It is that simple. And this really worries me, regardless to the job that he's, the degree he has and the job that he's about to do and the jobs he's been doing, Stevie, he will know zero about Scottish football. And of that, I am absolutely certain. So he's coming to a job that he is ill prepared for. He is not qualified for this is Scottish football level. He might be qualified for a job. I actually have no idea. But in terms of the job that he's about to do in a specific place, he's not ready for this. So when you're talking about Andrew Kavanagh, I'm worried about him already. His judgment and what he has decided, on the face of it, what he seems to have decided to do, Stevie, is to turn around and say this is a 3, 4, 5 year long-term plan, which is fine, but you still need to win games. And going by the way we're going, I'm not convinced that's going to happen very quickly at all, Stevie.
Some comments coming in saying, it's negative, and are you going to back the team? A couple of comments from the same person say, are you going to back the team when we go 4 points behind and we beat them in the semi-final, the Old Firm and stuff like that, Chris? I love the optimism and I hope it's true, but the reason we're so sceptical is because of what we've seen so far, the money that we've spent, the deals that we've done, the way that Rangers are currently performing. We all sit here and hope that we're going to rattle back up this league and beat them in semi-finals and win tomorrow night and everything else. But that would be on hope more than what we're actually seeing, which is the eye test right in front of us. And the moment we stop scrutinising this, and the moment we stop paying attention to what's actually going on, is the moment we all may as well chuck it. We, as supporters of the club, we're entitled to ask questions about what's going on and what's happening right in front of our nose.
Yeah, absolutely, Stevie. The supporters of Rangers Football Club are the biggest stakeholders in the club, and as the biggest stakeholders in the club, are the most important stakeholders in the club, you should be delivering the most scrutiny towards the club. You should always hold them to account. You should always hold them to standard. Was the comment, well, we're back the team if we win the semi-final and we go 4 points behind them? Well, I'm backing the team now, we're 8th, but I'm certainly not going to celebrate winning a semi-final and going 4 points behind Celtic is some sort of achievement. Winning the trophy and going ahead Celtic 4 points, yeah, that's where I want to be. I don't want to be behind them. I don't want to see that as some sort of kind of achievement. It's really not. But in terms of backing the team, and you can back the team and you can scrutinise and be critical of how we're run. Both things can be true at the same time, and that is essentially what is happening here. But also the onus, and this is maybe a wee bit of modern football that I'm not agreeing with, or maybe I'm just completely way off it, but the onus seems to be on the fans these days, not just Rangers fans, football fans, to give support to the players. The players have to give us something to cheer about. And as Rangers fans, the most important thing is always winning. But I think we're a reasonable bunch, and that might raise a few eyebrows. But we're a reasonable bunch in the sense that if Rangers get beat and we can see that each and every player have knocked their pan in and we just weren't good enough on the day, we can accept that begrudgingly, and we can move on in the knowledge that we've got 11 to 18 guys that are going to die for the badge. We don't have that. maybe get 1 or 2, maybe 3 at top, but we don't have that. We've got a disinterested bunch, a disorganised bunch, and we've got a manager who's in charge of these guys that cannot get a tune out of them. And it's really, really difficult to be positive. It really is, especially when Kenny says, and I said this last week as well, everything's in context, and you really have to keep hammering home the facts. We are in the 1st of October, and we are 8th. That is embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing, and we have every right to be annoyed. We have every right to be critical, and we have every right to voice our concern. Doesn't mean we're not back in the team. And in actual fact, obviously I've not been on since last Wednesday. In actual fact, you've seen that very evidently in the Livingston game, where we got a last minute winner. We were completely joyous and happy and buzzing, but at the same time we're singing Martin get to fuck. Both things can be true at the same time. You can back the team and be very critical of the people who are making the decisions, and you can be very critical of the direction the club has gone. So it is really difficult sometimes to separate both of them, but both of them can live next door to each other. And yeah, I suppose that's not a great analogy, is it? But we'll go with that. But yeah, it is very conflicting. It is very conflicting, and it creates division. And I don't want to. I hate division. We should all be united, regardless if we agree with each other or not. We all want the same thing. Ultimately, we all want Rangers to win, and I think that message needs to be reiterated every so often, especially moaning faced gits like me. Yeah, I will moan the life out of it because I don't see many positives right now. But I just want to remind you, I still want Rangers to win.
Maybe Kevin Thelwells just doesn't like his son and is having such a great time up here. He thought to bring him up and all. But let's move on from that. We've said everything we want to say. Regardless, we wish everybody that's come up here and is about to be appointed officially by the club the very best, because we want Rangers to be successful. But again, it doesn't mean that we can't look at it and wonder exactly what is going on. But every single person in the comments and every single one of us on the panel tonight all want this to succeed. It just doesn't feel like it shouldn't be without questioning, that's for sure. Let's move on. Tomorrow night we do play Gratz. Press conference has come and gone. Russell Martin spoke. There wasn't a lot in it, got to be quite honest. He backs the news today, the appointments. He always was going to say that. If it's a man of Kevin Thelwell's stature, then it's a very good appointment, etc., etc. He's always going to say that. Said he was saddened by the continued abuse. He walked down the tunnel straight away on Sunday because he wanted the players to enjoy it and it shouldn't be about him. He's saddened by the abuse levels when he sees some young kids sticking their toes up and shouting abuse at him when their dad, etc., standing right there. I don't know if he means me and Kenny in the gantry when he says that, but who knows? But he also mentioned probably the biggest news: everyone's fit and well. There's no Diamandi. He was sent off obviously last week. Lyle Cameron is back in the squad. He's back training. Conor Barron did the presser. You would maybe assume that he would come in with Raskin or continue to play with Raskin and Asgard. So that might be where that is, Kenny. But team news, I suppose the biggest takeaway from the Russell Martin's press conference as we head towards Graz tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a kind of weird one where this news is kind of made the game kind of secondary, isn't it? The secondary news of the day, you've got a press conference in an hour before this kind of comes out and stuff. But Sturm Graz are a decent enough side by all accounts. I watched them last week against Midtjylland, I think it was Wednesday night. They get beat 2-0, but they actually played quite well, but their keeper tossed a couple in. I know they're sitting second in the Austrian Bundesliga, I think it's called. They're a point behind Rapid Vienna with a game in hand. Seemed pretty solid defensively going by their record, but on Rangers, Yeah, we've got a full squad to pick from, basically, apart from Mo Diamande. And we need to win, Stevie. For me, it is that simple. We need to go there and pick up the 3 points. I think if we don't, with games against Roma, Porto and Braga still to come, if we don't win tomorrow, we're going to find it very, very difficult to find ourselves in those playoff spots, because there's plenty of good sides in this Europa League, I'm afraid, and we might struggle. And if we lose that, then what was the next home game? I think it's Braga. It's going to be tough, isn't it? It's going to be really tough to get through. For me, I'm looking forward to the game. Hope we win. I said this the other night in response to the boys' question there. I want Rangers to win every single game. What's going on in the background is when a game's going on is a side issue. The 90 minutes take priority every single time for me, and that's just the way it is. But I'm a wee bit concerned about tomorrow, because I've got to tell you that if we turn up and do what we did last Thursday night, Stevie, you and I were on the gantry to that, and we were lucky to get out there 1-0. And if we turn up and play a similar way, we will get beat, and we will be very, very up against it from there on. So that Austrian league seems a decent league to me, and we're going to find it tough, but we'll wait and see how it goes.
I think the biggest problem, Chris, is that when you're as open and as susceptible as giving away chances that we are, you struggle with how we're going to do. Every single one of us obviously is excited. We want to see Rangers do well. We want to see how they'll play. But as Kenny says, Genk, with all due respect to them, we're not the toughest team we played in Europe in recent years, and they could easily have came about away from Ibrox last week with a 6-0 victory, and we wouldn't have been shocked. If we go to Graz tomorrow night and it is open and as easy to play against as we were last Thursday, then we're going to be up against it. And that's, I suppose, the scary thing. From the team news, etc., at least Lyle Cameron's back in. He might play some part, probably be on the bench, I would imagine. I don't see them making many changes from Sunday against Livy. They have to try and somehow produce a 20 minutes that they did in the first half, 20-25 minutes, and produce that for longer to have any chance. They need to defend well. They're going to have to play well, but this isn't going to be easy, and I can't help but feel that we've not had a clean sheet away from home, I think I read, in 21 games. We've conceded 42 goals or something ridiculous like that. So going to Graz tomorrow night, it's more or less as well a must-win game when you consider Braga, Roma, and Porto still to come in our 8 games. We need to start picking up points. So this, I understand people saying Sunday's a big one and we need to concentrate in the league. We absolutely do, but Rangers can ill afford to just, throw away prize money and things like that. And in recent years, we'd be going to Graz feeling fairly confident. I'm worried about tomorrow night because of what we've seen previously.
Yeah, and that is the point, Stevie. It's like we've every right to be worried purely on the basis that we know we're going to be so open, because it doesn't matter what happens in the previous game. It doesn't seem as if Martin learns his lesson. We start every game the same, albeit with Livingston in the first 20 minutes, that was an outlier. And we finish every match the same. We finish a match chasing a game, which ironically, if you actually look at it, this is just a side point, but if you look at all the games that we've finished from start to finish, if you take Bruges out of the equation, there's an argument to be had there that if that's the style of play that Martin wants, then you probably could be a wee bit excited. But the problem is, it's always when you're chasing a game, Rangers are playing like that the last 20 minutes where he's just flinging everything at it, and that is one of the most concerning things about Martin as a Rangers manager. It doesn't really have a clue about much, but when it comes to actually chasing a game, it's always just very bizarre substitutions, very bizarre tactical changes. But to answer your question about being so open in a game that we must win, and the likelihood to win a game like this, you have to keep a clean sheet. Yeah, everything's against us in terms of the amount of goals that we've conceded away from home, the amount of chances we give up every game, and of course the added element of I totally agree with you and Kenny. We really do need to win this game to have any chance of qualifying for the playoffs. I don't think we're going to automatically qualify in the top 8. I think we can all agree on that. But again, I'll reiterate what I said last week. Europe. I think me and Kenny agreed that Europe was an irritant. I would like to kind of revise that. Maybe not so much an irritant, but it's a kind of. It used to be a welcome distraction for Rangers fans. Now I would say it's a sort of kind of. I understand if people said it was an unwelcome distraction this season. I'm not saying it is, but I would understand if someone was to say that. Purely on the basis that we need to start picking up points and climbing the league. So that's why I wasn't too unmoved last week about Genk beating us and then we won at Livy. If the same thing was to happen this week, if Gratz beat us and we beat Falkirk, it's still, in my opinion, and I might get some letters and emails here, but it's still, in my opinion, we're still moving in the right direction because we have to really focus more importantly on the domestic things. However, you can obviously come back at me and state that European football has been important to this football club for a good number of years now, and especially financially and especially the prestige of it, and it's probably attracted a lot of players to us. Know that they've helped as much, but yeah, it's a double-edged sword really. Again, if you push me, Stevie, would I take a win tomorrow and dropping points at the weekend against Falkirk? No, I wouldn't. Would I take not winning tomorrow and picking up full points against Falkirk at the weekend? Yes, I would. Ideally, what do I want the most? I want 2 wins. Do I see that as being realistic? No, I don't. Purely in the argument that you gave me there, Stevie, or the point you made there that we're far too open, we're far too naive. We give up far too many chances. We've not kept a clean sheet. I'd love to be more positive, but unless Russell Martin changes his approach, that's what's going to keep happening. The more things, the more things stay the same. It's not going to change. It's not going to change at all. So, yeah, I just seen in the comments here, every game is a must-win game. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It is, but some games are easier than others is pretty much what the point I'm trying to make, and some games are more important than others, and I'm prioritising the league over Europe. And I think it's going to be a tough night tomorrow, a very, very tough night. If you were to offer me a draw just now, Stevie, I would take it. Obviously, I'd like to win, but I think it's going to be a very, very tough night.
Yeah, sadly, because of what we've seen, Kenny, it's difficult to say anything otherwise. I would agree with Chris on that, because we did say last week we were ridiculously open, and when I say 6-0 to Genk, there was not one disagreement in the comments, because coming out of Ibrox last week, Kenny, we all said it, and people were saying it to us on the way down to the press room. That could have been a hiding, and that's what I'm worried about tomorrow. With the rate of how we give up possession and turnovers in the wrong places is really quite scary. But on a positive note, we have to build on what was some good form for 20-25 minutes. And it sounds, yes, and even I feel it sounds pathetic saying that it was Livingston, etc. I get it before people come at me with that. And yes, I'm clutching, but we have to build on it. Some of the passing was good. Some of the movement, we actually wanted the ball. We looked interested. We created chances. So I get it. Like, it's not ideal. It's not great, but we have to keep building. We have to keep putting something together. Gratz might not be as important for some in terms of, report of points on Sunday, and Sunday is absolutely vital. And I get it 100%, but you need to keep building. You need to keep putting building blocks in place. You need to keep trying to do something. And, we want to see players settling a bit more. I want to see more from Asgard. I want to see more from Gassama, Ant-Man. I want to see Miovski taking those chances. I want to see our defence looking a bit better, etc., etc. I sincerely hope that Jack's in the same form. So I go into it with that kind of frame of mind of, I understand everything we've said about the way we're playing and how it looks and how it is and the worries. But the Rangers side of me, ahead of the head side of me, the side that's in my heart, really wants to see more progress. And like Chris says, we all want to be moving on. We all want to pin results together. We've not won 2 games in a row yet. So let's try and do these things and then head to Falkirk feeling a bit better about ourselves. And by the way, I am well aware that I said these exact same things on last Wednesday's pod before we went to Genk and Chris and you both said it's not going to happen. It's, you know, this is what we've been seeing. I can only hope that tomorrow night it might.
Oh, it'd be lovely to win 2 games in a row. This kind of sorcery stuff, that winning 2 games in a row. I'm going to be the hamburger doom again. I just look at our European performances so far this season. I think Russell Martin, as I've alluded to, is learning on the job. He's never been involved in European football, and I think he's getting caught out an awful lot. You'll remember when we were in the press conference after the Bruges game at home, and Nicky Haynes' comment about, well, we knew where the spaces were. And that's kind of what terrifies me about going. Not terrifies me, it's a bit dramatic. That's what worries me about tomorrow and any European game at the moment, Stevie, is that when you go into this at this level, you are going up several levels from, with all respect to Livingston or Falkirk, and they've got better players, better coaching, better tactics, they're quicker, faster, stronger, everything about it, and we're going to find it tough tomorrow. That's just the way I kind of see it. I think we're playing a decent enough side. We're not playing great football, but as you say, that 25 minutes against Livingston is probably the best we've played domestically, and if you could bring that to tomorrow's game and keep the ball for long periods, you might have a chance. But you're talking about Miovski taking chances, mate. I'd like to see Miovski touch the ball once or twice. It would be nice, because we are really struggling to get. And I don't think he'll start tomorrow. I think it'll be Chermiti for all that. For I've just said that. I think he'll leave Miovski for Sunday. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, because I always look forward to Rangers games, Stevie. But my overall Rangers demeanour at the minute is a bit down and doom and gloom, because I just want to see us winning games, mate, and we really are struggling to do that. And with what's going on behind the scenes, it's not making it easier to watch when we're not playing particularly well. That's where I'm at with it. But the quicker this magic possession-based football all starts to click, the better for me, mate, and we start scoring 3 and 4 goals a game, because with the spaces we leave, we're going to need to score 3 and 4 goals to guarantee ourselves to win games. That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, we will see tomorrow night. Kenny and I will be back with the post-match reaction. Gentlemen, it's been a ball as ever. Chris, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, I feel better for getting that off my chest. I actually feel quite mentally exhausted now, just unloading it all. But yeah, listen, it's tough. It's tough at the moment being a Rangers fan. Of course, it is. We're not doing very well on the park, and that magnifies a lot of the things that happen off the park. I think I seen one of the comments. No one would be batting an eyelid at us if we were 4 points clear. Of course we wouldn't, because that would suggest that it's actually working. What's happening right now is it's suggesting it's not working, and we're trying to fix it and making decisions that we feel as a fan base are not progressing us, but actually either keeping us where we're at or maybe even making us worse. So that's where you need to try and kind of get the balance. And that's what frustrates me. I'm not talking for anyone else. I'm only talking for myself. And I would love to come on here, Stevie, and be more positive. And I'm sure I will in the future. I'm sure there'll be plenty of more positive days ahead for Rangers. But really, it's summed up at the moment with what Kenny just said there, which is absolutely embarrassingly pathetic. No, you, Kenny, what you said. It'd be nice to win 2 games in a row. It's just not good enough. So stop inviting me on, Stevie.
No, I'm sorry, you're stuck with us now. Kenny, pleasure as always, mate. It would be nice to come on and be a bit more positive, and I do try, genuinely do try to talk about the positives, but we can only talk about what's in front of us. But we hope for better tomorrow night, and hopefully come on to a post-match where we're celebrating a really good Rangers result.
We can only call it as we see it, Stevie, that if nothing else on here, we'll be as honest as as we can be about everything. We're just calling it as we see it. And a lot of folk maybe felt we were a wee bit negative the first half of this when we were talking about these new appointments and stuff like that. And that's, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but we will come on here and voice our opinion and just be honest. And I'm going to leave it and make this short, mate, because I know you're trying to get this done and dusted for the PSG game, aren't you?
Me, try to stop it for football. What would we say? Thank you, everybody in the comments. Really appreciate all of them. This isn't a dictatorship. I don't mind people having the opposite opinion, and we'll always try and put them up. But a couple of weeks ago, I got criticised for putting up a comment that was really anti Russell Martin, and unfortunately, I didn't even realise that it had a wee picture of a cabbage as the thumbnail for it, and it was pure accidental, and I didn't mean to do it. And so I always try and bring up comments that are respectful, but there's a lot of anger in the comments tonight, and it would just be nice if Rangers could turn that around. A couple of victories before the end of the week into the international break, and feel a wee bit better about ourselves. So let's see how we do. And I do realise, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I said the exact same last week, and look how that turned out. But let's hope for better. Thank you to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Clydeview Fire Extinguishing and Joinery, Athlone Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, and our partner Black Rooster and Art of Gold. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It really helps us on YouTube, fast hurtling towards 11,000 subs, which is incredible. We really appreciate all the support. So thank you for that. To all our YouTube members, show went out last night with Scott Nisbet, with Derek and Co for the book club, so please go and give that a watch or listen, because the visual pod actually failed on us, so apologies about that, but you can listen to it. It's also on all of your places you will get your audio pods. We decided to release that out to the public just to give you an idea of what we do and the kind of member stuff that we do. So if you want to join for as little as 99p a month, you can just simply click on the join button on the YouTube, or you can scan this and that'll take you straight to and become a member as well. So we really appreciate all the support. Thank you for that. The hard sell is over. We really appreciate all your support. Good luck to the team and the management tomorrow night as we head to Gratz. Let's hope Rangers can do it. Thanks everybody for listening. Have a wonderful night. Take care, and we'll see you on the post-match tomorrow night. Take care now. Bye.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athlone Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.